got a little more bee work to do today. Well, hey there everyone, this is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike and I do bees. Welcome back to Southeast Louisiana in January. It's the 14th of January and it is another beautiful day, 65 degrees. But we've got rain coming all day tomorrow and then we've got some really cold weather coming in, and they're actually calling for snow one day. Probably just flurries down here, but a little further north of us where I just came from, they usually get a little bit that sticks. And then there's those years where we had 8 inches and 6 inches. But yeah, it's supposed to get really cold. So these fluctuations, they just don't stop. Look at the beautiful camellias blooming. Bees are bringing in pollen at the place I was just at. I was at a place where it's pretty far north, way back. And it's an old fallen down house and they need bees taken out. And we were out there and I got stung in the head and stung in the cheek and hit on the lip as I was looking. But they're an old house and they were bringing pollen in. I haven't been out to mine, but we have something we need to do today, and that is, with it so warm and we got a lot of cold weather coming in, because it's going to stay cold for about a week. I need to check these weights again. Go once a week, and I know I've got 2 here that were already light, 1 at the town yard and 1 at the yard up in the northern area that are light. So I went and bought a product recommended to me by honeybees, and we're gonna go put something on some hives. I'm looking at these bees and they're all flying around my truck. So anyway, got to make sure we supplement the colonies that have started really eating down through their stores with this hot weather. These things are brooding up in here. They're going out and they're burning energy, flying and looking for forage. They're putting brood in. All of this takes energy, and when it takes this energy in stores, they go through them really fast. We're just not clustered up like you guys way up north, and so that's a problem. And it can really bite you if you're not careful, and you open a colony at the end of February and it's dead. But fortunately around here we will get some sort of low to moderate flow mid-January going into March until a big one hits, so they'll have something. So we got to at least get them through March. The big thing with starvation down here is a lot of people think they're home free in March because that little flow starts, but what has happened is the bees have really brooded up fast. They've eaten through stores on a warm winter and you're not monitoring the weights, and then all of a sudden you get into March and they brood fast, and the little bit of low to moderate nectar flow we have isn't enough and colonies starve. It really does happen, and you think it shouldn't happen because there's nectar coming, but it doesn't matter. They're brooding up so fast, and it can really bite people if they're not careful. So I don't want to be bitten. I want to make sure that they're heavy. Now let's take a look at what I got. So what I have is this right here. All right, it's not I don't think it's a very new product. I think it's somewhat new, but it comes from over in Europe, or is it the UK maybe? I forget where it comes from. HillCo Bees has it. John at HillCo Bees sells it. I bought a case while I was at the Hive Life conference. I saw Natalie with Beekeeping Like a Girl. She put some on her hive and demonstrated, and I said I'm going to do that because I had seen Honey's post or his comment, and he said, hey, try fondant. And when I saw her putting it on, I checked it out, and it looks pretty simple. She basically cut a hole in the back and did it. So then I went to their page, Hive Alive, and found it. Now fondant is something, I don't know, I'm sure y'all remember these videos, they're out there still, of the skep beekeeper and getting the heather honey and how they caught swarms and did all this and did all that. And when they fed, they made fondant, soft fondant like this. And I always wanted to be able to put this on the colonies. It's not any good in the heat because it can run between the frames, but it surely is good in the wintertime, and we should have some cool temperatures where they can get to it. They can consume it much better. Listening to their website, as well as Kent at the Hive Life conference. This is inverted already. It's already been, they say inverted, but it's already basically been converted so that the bees can consume it. It's ready to eat, and it's got nutrients in it. Not sure all, but it's a 2-pound block, and it just goes right on the hive. You cut a square in the back, lay it on, and that's what we're going to do in a second. So I'm going to put 2 pounds on the 2 colonies I have here and weigh everything else to be sure we're not running light, because these things are going to be going through some feed quick, some stores. A lot of the colonies were super heavy. We should be okay, but we got to check anyway. But again, this stuff is ready to consume, so that would be better than granulated emergency feeding. And while I can put sugar water on right now, I'm going to be freezing in a day and a half. And they would suck down what they could, and then they'd cluster back up for a few days, and it'd get warm again, and I'd have frozen syrup, and it wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good. It just wouldn't be good to put syrup on right now. Even though we can get away with it when we have 4 or 5 days like this. We've had 3 really nice days, but the mornings are in the 30s, and just icing and cooling and all that with the syrup, it's going to drain. You can get moisture, and it's just not worth all that. So I think these are going to work good. They're a little pricey, I guess, but you know, so are your bees if you let them starve. And I think this will be much better. So off we go with this stuff. Let's go put it on some colonies. Shouldn't take us long. And I'll do the other ones later. I'm going to have to go up to those probably tomorrow after the market in the rain and feed. I don't want anything to starve. Let's rock and roll. Okay. So while I'm over on this side of the yard, let's go over here and check the 3 colonies we got left on this side. All the others have been moved up north. And we got to move some colonies tonight with a friend, so I'm going to go over there. Hopefully I'll get some video, but it's going to be dark, so I don't know how well it works. You know, my fancy Hero 3 Plus GoPro. But let's check these weights, because I know these hives were full of bees, and they can really eat some feed fast. Looks like everybody's wrapping up their flights. They're all coming back in. There's not a lot of activity. It's already cooling off pretty good. That one's starting to get light. That's got a lot. Still enough in there, but this one's starting to lighten up. It's still about 30, 40 pounds. So I decided to go ahead and shoot up real quick because I'm going to open these colonies, and I don't know how they'll be. They'll probably be just fine, but you just never know. Let's throw some feed on these colonies and check some weights. So I've always wanted to make this fondant, but it's really all about heating it and then pouring it and all that good stuff. And you got to get the temperature just right on the sugar for it to flip over and get to the way it needs to be. So I've never tackled it. I think I need to find out which ones. I think number 7. I'll have to look at my list, but I'm going to weigh them all anyway. So yeah, I never made it, and I think with this coming with the nutrients in it already, I mean, it's got all kind of vitamins and such, so why not use something that's already made? It's pricey, can't tell a lie. Ooh. Look at there. I walked up and set that on the lid, and out they came. I'm glad I suited up. I just walked by that colony after moving it up and down. I just walked by them and they swarmed out after me and hit my suit. That would have been no fun. Some of these I can actually feel that are very top heavy, meaning all the bees have already moved to the top, which is about right, because in another 2 weeks I'll be reversing boxes. So that's normal. It's a good thing. It's where we want them. We'll flip the boxes, but they're good and heavy on the top. You can feel it wanting to flip off of the stand. So let's take a look at this and get some let's get some Hive Alive on here, see how we can do this. Oh yeah, nice cluster there. They're all slid over though. We're over on this side. Nice little cluster right here. So I'm gonna move this. Didn't see any beetles, and all the traps are locked down pretty good. Let's throw them right here. Come on. There we go. Let's move that over. I really don't want to cover it too much. So what they say, you take it and you cut it. Like so. And you take this tab and you flip it. Heck, I'll just cut it off. I don't think it really matters. There, you expose that. Flip that over on top of the cluster. There we go. Oh, I forgot my feeding shim. I'm gonna go get those real quick. All right, I got back. So I just take a shim. It's a small one. When I made these, I put a couple vent holes right here and some screen on the back. I just give it a little air. Get a lot of moisture and humidity down here. Really, that moisture doesn't hurt us terribly, but I do keep my eye on it. I don't have too much trouble with moisture. We'll put it that way. So there we go. And they're fed. That was pretty easy. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's move on. So next, I don't know how strong this particular colony is. It had issues, and this is definitely light. So I don't know what to expect. Still got bees in it. That's a plus, right? Now, that's not a bad colony. One beetle, 2 beetles, 3 beetles. So that's not terrible. Yeah, a few beetles here and there. I've seen worse, but I've seen better. Yeah, this is a very, very small cluster. It's a little worrisome putting a fondant patty in here with beetles running around, but all we can do is give it a shot, see what happens, monitor it, and I will. We got a 4 to 5 frame cluster in here. We'll see what they do. I'm just gonna take a whole square out. I guess it really matters. Try some of this stuff. It looks good. It looks tasty. Looks like the nest is moved up, kind of. Should start seeing some population increases on some of these smaller ones as we get closer to February and they begin to start emerging, brood emergence. I'm gonna go show y'all something about feeder rims. I'm sure you know it, but I'm gonna show you something. So what I do want to say, especially to any new viewers, and so that any of my regular viewers don't forget this, and go back and say, man, I ain't doing that. That don't make no sense what you're doing. I ain't gonna listen to you do that. Man, that's crazy hive alive. I ain't putting no fondant. I'll put sugar on, I'll feed them different. Remember, I'm not making a how-to video. I'm just simply doing a vlog. It's a how I do video. And this is something I'm trying this year. I'd seen this fondant in those European videos, and I know they do use it in Europe. It just seems better if it's already converted over to what they can consume. Fructose is it, and whatever, however the glucose goes, and all them guys like Bob Benny and Kent Williams and all them, they can explain all that to you. But what I know is it's ready for them to consume, and I've said it many times, I don't like using granulated sugar unless it is absolutely no way else but an emergency, and I've done everything else I can do. I will use it, but I don't like to because it's not consumed well for them. So anyway, there you go. That's what we tried, and I think it's gonna work good. It's got, you know, those little colonies are kind of weak. They're weak. They're just drawn down. Remember, I don't build my brood nests in the dearth leading up to the fall flow and into the fall. I don't feed them up and make these gigantic brood nests. It's just not something I do. I don't need to. They seem to make it through the winter once I get the mites taken care of and get the proper nutrition in them. And now I feel like I'm putting a better substitute for food in there than it would be if I was putting granular sugar. So all it can do is help them. And my brood nests usually around February are pretty small. When I go to reverse boxes, I rarely find overflowing colonies. I usually find, you know, compact little brood nests that grow up nice, and that's good for me because it helps me to keep them from peaking too soon, which in some cases they do anyway if we have a good privet flow. Whatever. I want to show you something real quick, and remember, I'm not showing you how to, but I'm showing you something I did, and y'all probably know this, but you see I saved these. Well, these are good boxes over here. They should be clean, but these are broken boxes. And what I'll do with these, let me show you. What I'll do is I'll use these to make my feeder shims. Okay, and it's real simple. You get a table saw. For example, this one's broke on top. So I would set my fence to cut the bad part off, and then I'd set my fence to cut the size feeder rims I want. Maybe, you know, that big, and cut down one side, cut down the next side. Of course, I'd rip these off. I got sealant and all on. Cut down this side, cut down that side, boom, there's one rim. Perfect size, ready to go. If you want to put vent holes in, you can. Another thing that I have done is when the bottoms are tore up, if say this much is rotten, like I got one back there, but the tops are good, I'll measure out my fence so I can cut myself a honey super, a medium, because I use mediums, and I'll cut it down to honey super size. It's a way to repurpose a box. It's not completely destroyed because this has got a lot of good weight in it, but for whatever reason I busted it there somehow. This Ponderosa shelf board can be kind of tricky to keep together, but that's just a little thing I do, and I don't know, it's repurposing something, saving me from trying to put pieces of sticks together to make a square to go on the hive, because I hate woodworking. Well, folks, that's all I got for you today. I surely appreciate y'all watching. If you did happen to like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, if you don't mind, of course. And don't forget to share this video with friends, family, anybody that just enjoys watching bees. It's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I'm doing bees in January already. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and may the Lord God bless you. We'll see y'all later.